Do you find yourself yearning for a deeper, more purposeful existence? Get ready to embark on a transformative journey, diving deep into the realms of personal development, friendships, romance, and abundance. Get ready for Finding the Fire, Igniting Soul Connection, as we lead the way to embrace the fire within.
Hey, so our last episode, we ended off talking about our men's retreats and how we connect and why we're here together, right? But I really wanted to get into more of like the individual offerings that we each have. And I want to talk more specifically about a lot of your offerings, Holly, because, oh my goodness, I've experienced so much with you and they're so beautiful. So I'd like you to delve more into them. And you have so many, but I've experienced, like self-healing and birthday readings and girls like weekend one-on-one or day retreat, I think is what you call them. And also like you collaborate and do other retreats, like bigger retreats, women's retreats, things like that. That I've also experienced, which are amazing. So I'd just like you to talk some more on some of those and maybe, maybe start with your birthday retreat or your birthday readings, I guess is what they're called.
Yeah, sure. So my birthday is basically a yearly reading that I do. It's best to do usually right around your birthday, whether a month or so before or after. It basically laser focuses like your whole year. And it's fun to just dive in and just kind of really learn more about what's coming in for you this year. What are you being pushed to release this year? What are you being pushed to bring in this year? What roles are you being pushed to step into this year? Kind of even to like what angels and guides are working with you this year. What just gives you a really like what energies you're working with astrologically this year too. It just kind of really helps you get like more centered, more grounded, more focused. And stuff like that. So that's kind of a really fun reading to do for the year. That one we're not releasing stuff so much. It's just bringing a lot to your awareness and helping you
have some direction, maybe,
a lot of direction. It's great for
direction,
awareness, and they're just a fun reading to do.
You did one for me recently because I just had a birthday.
Yeah, we just did a short one. We actually need to dive into more on that. We just kind of briefly went over that, but that
was fun. It's exciting to know like what's coming up for me
and
this
just like
year.
what main messages are coming for the year. And I even like just when people come in for a regular energy session, it's just like it's that I'm just open to whatever needs to come in. And that's why I feel like a lot of times in my session, if they need specific things, I'll pull from whatever healing modalities or whatever thing I'm trained in so that I can really bring whatever they need in that moment. So with just a regular energy session too, a lot of times it's just like where are they stuck? Like one of my gifts is really connecting into their subconscious and really going deep without knowing anything about that person of where are they, what needs to come up, what stuff from their childhood, what stuff is really blocking them, why are they not living life to their fullest, what messages are coming through. Sometimes we don't know how to get that all by ourselves. Right. So it's so nice to just sometimes have guidance or have someone in my intention is just connecting in to their higher self. So what messages in this moment is trying to come through for them, or what blocks what are they ready to release at that time?
One of the really cool things I've experienced with you when you do these energy sessions is like, as you're tuning in to like, oh, where is she blocked? Where can she use the most help? Is like, you don't always need to know the story around it, right? Mm-hmm. You can like tap into like, oh, she's having block around abundance, and like we can tap into that and like change the energy, shift the energy, bring it to awareness and let it go, without having to like, well, what happened in your childhood that caused you to have this block, and that could go for everything.
Right.
But
some things you have to go deep and some you don't, but a lot of times it's like you don't have to relive anything.
Right. Any traumatic experiences.
But your body does have to process and bring to awareness so that it can fully be released. A lot of times we just have stuff stuck in the body and it's ready to bring to awareness. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes some stuff is deep and some stuff is just ready to clear in the moment.
Yeah. That's what's so beautiful, because I've experienced some of it, all of it with you, some like laughter and tears, and then another time it's like, oh, I just feel an energy shift. I don't even know what happened, but now I feel amazing. So
yeah, and so it's fun. It's just fun to kind of come in and do a session. I do offer like girlfriend retreats. Maybe it's just you and a girlfriend or a day.
That was fun.
Those are
I came
fun.
with a girlfriend, and that was really fun. We had a whole day of it, and you have like a sauna. You have like all kinds of offerings.
It's basically set up for like everything. Yes, you get to experience all different types of readings. there's a lot of like separate time. I do have an infrared sauna. There's, it's very, even a little bit of alone time. Those are actually really, really fun. So if you have any, questions on that, people
I had a powerful shift at the one I came to.
I remember.
I actually booked a trip to Costa Rica while I was there at your girls' trip.
Right.
Or girls' weekend thing. And I wasn't going to do it, but
came
it was
up in
so
that session
powerful.
that I wasn't expecting. I don't think you were expecting either.
No, not at all.
When you
completely took
so
me by surprise.
Those are fun because you get to do so much in a day. We do a lot of energy clearing. We do like the birthday read. We do so much that by the time you leave, you have a lot, a huge transformation in that day. So those are exciting to see.
And we leave with like lots of tools too in our toolbox, right? So as we're going through navigating life, like we have things to lean back on and within ourselves after that.
Yes,
too,
and that's
so
one thing I do love teaching people. Like, and that came from the get-go when I first started doing energy work and stuff with people. It's like, okay, I don't want to just do this work for them. How can I teach them so that when they leave, they can still do work themselves? They don't have to be so dependent and reliant on me, that they are able to have, so I love giving people tools or teaching them tools of like, okay, what are daily things I can do for myself to keep me in a good space? So I do love to teach. Another thing I do is I do teach some classes. I love to train people or even teach people pendulum work, how to muscle test, how to tune in, how to connect to themselves, how to validate things, or even just, when they're ready to really learn a lot of this stuff, how to train them in a lot of things that I do.
A lot of people after they experience what you have to offer, they're like, how can I learn more about that? Like, train me more on that for myself, and maybe they help their family members or something else down the line. But that's really...
Yeah, it's just even the pendulum class, a lot of people, it's been fun to see how people have taken off with just learning to trust their intuition more and trust and helping themselves learn how to stay in alignment and recognize when things are
and check in with themselves, like, oh, wait, is this, I need to take a minute, tune into myself and see what's, in alignment for me right now.
Yeah. So those are really fun. And then also, a couples retreat is actually really fun. I did do a couple couples retreats, last year actually. And that's just really cool too. Again, you get to come with you and your partner and just kind of a whole day of just stuff is set up, whether I'm working one-on-one at times, or we're working together at times. You have your alone time. It's a super cool transformation, and sitting with Hoppe together as a couple is really cool. And those.
Oh yeah. Like we talked about on the last episode, like it can really connect you into the heart of your partner.
Like, it's really magical to see the transformation that happens with a couple. But I do love that I individually work, because everyone has to do their own work.
Yep.
Like, if we want to grow with a couple or a partner, like, we have to take care of our own crap. Like, it's not up to someone else to make us happy. It's not up to someone else to heal our stuff.
How often do we like expect our partner to fill all our holes, right? Like our happiness cup and our sadness cup and our fun joy cup, but we need to do that for ourselves. We need to do that for ourselves first and not lean on them, especially, they've had a long day of taking care of kids or working or whatever else. And then we feel like we need something, but they're depleted at the end of the day too. So if we can find that within ourselves and then come together when the time is right and help overflow each other's cups, that's so important.
Yeah, I do. The relationships, I think, get me really excited, just because I think, there's so much that we don't know at times how to heal our relationship or how to make it better. And I think a lot of times too, we always thought it was the other person that was supposed to make us happy.
Right. Right. I know. I thought that.
Or when we're not happy, we think it's someone else's fault, or we're wanting to blame the other person. And when it comes back and you really just start doing your own work, it's just, I feel like
it's a game changer.
Yeah.
Right?
Instead of trying to change your partner, like a lot of times too, I think we think, oh, I got to just change this person, or what if they would change, then I would be happy. Right. And what if it comes back to you looking within yourself and looking how can I show up as the best person? What do I need to heal within myself? And as you start doing your own work and looking inward in yourself, you truly can actually grow as
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the only place you actually can make change, right? Is within yourself. Like trying to make somebody else change, one, is never going to happen. Mm-hmm. It's going to just cause more rifts and fights between you. And then you're just going to be let down and upset anyway. So the only change can really come from within. But once you you do that for yourself and hold that space for yourself, then you can actually connect deeper and hold that space for your partner as well.
And also another thing in the relationship ones, I think too, is just it's often we hold on to so much with a partner, whether you get in a fight with them, whether you've been through hurt or pain or betrayal or lying or anything like that. There's so much the majority of relationships have had to go through. And a lot of times we don't really know how to heal through that. There's still pain that our bodies are holding on to. And so when we try to connect back with our partner after going through all that, a lot of that stuff got suppressed. A lot of it didn't really get healed or processed. And so it's like we don't know. We don't always have the tools of how to heal our past with a partner.
Especially if we're still holding on to it. And even if we think we let it go, we think we forgave them.
If we forgive a person, but our body still hurts. Like, and energy doesn't lie. Like that pain and that hurt inside, and you want to connect with your partner, but it's like you're almost blocked to a certain extent from connecting because of everything you're still holding on to. To me, that was one, I didn't obviously know that very well, like when I was married, of how much, like sometimes we just don't talk. We don't communicate. We don't talk about things. Even our hurt and pain, we just suppress it, right? It's not safe to speak about it or communicate it, or we're just scared to talk. And that's, I mean, even my own self.
Or we think that we're protecting them by not sharing our feelings with them. And we just act like
it's okay because we still love this person or whatever. But that's not how we heal. And that's not how our body processes. And that's not how we connect and become closer. It's through the vulnerable, and it's through feeling the feels and talking and having the communication and feeling safe. But if our body can process the pain and release it, then we can heal. But most of the time we don't. We don't give ourselves.
We don't have the tools. We don't know. We didn't
know any better. And that's the thing is, I think in relationships, most of us, we just do the best we know. And that's truly, like, we just show up the best we know, whatever we've been taught, how we've been raised. And so I think some of these tools are so cool. I've seen relationships and bonds and connections happen, like, after they're able to release that anger they've been holding on to forever, that fight that they can never let go of, right? How many often do people bring up the past? The past is the past, but when we're wanting to bring up the past, recognizing, like, what have I not let go about the past? Why am I still bringing this up? Or why are they still bringing this up, right? There's something obviously they haven't let go of, or I haven't let go of.
Yeah, and it's like consciously, mentally, they're like, I forgive you, I love you, like I forgive the situation, but if you are still holding it in your body, in your energy field, you haven't actually felt it, you haven't been vulnerable with it, you haven't been able to fully release it, like that's like your subconscious level, right? Like, in your conscious level is only, like, they say 10% of what's really going on. So like 90% is still, like, suppressed and repressed down in there. So to hold space to allow that to actually release, so you can actually let it go fully, so you can connect again, because you'll have a disconnect there if it's still there.
And you just wonder why there is still that disconnect, or why can't we connect? And it's like, once you release, all of a sudden there's space now to allow that loving energy, that connection that you've so badly wanted, but didn't know how to get to it. Yeah, you didn't know how to release. And a lot of times we're just like, oh, that's in the past. I forgave. It's okay. I don't care about it anymore. But your body didn't forget.
Yeah, your body,
your subconscious remembers
and
all of it if we don't heal it. Like, we got to feel it, we got to heal it, and it's we got to be vulnerable. So those are, I think I'm really passionate about the relationships and seeing people connect at a level that I truly get excited to see people when they can connect.
And relationships come in all ways, right? Too, like friendships or siblings or children. And as you're talking about that, like I know a lot of times with my own children, I'm still teaching them this, like unlearning the old ways and relearning the new ways, right? But so say my youngest has an emotion around a friend or a sibling or something, and logically she knows, like, whatever they did wasn't that big of a deal, but it hurt her, like say they had a plan to get together and it didn't happen, and she was sad and let down, and logically it's like, oh, it's okay, I know they had something come up, but her hopes were let down, so she pushes that feeling aside instead of actually feeling it. It's like, okay, but how are you feeling about it? Let's talk about that feeling. Or if it's something that's consistently happened with a certain relationship in her life, like, oh, like every time we make a plan, like it doesn't happen, then it creates a barrier and a distrust and like more and more layers between you in that relationship. So if you're always suppressing it and understanding of the other person, because maybe they do, like they have a work thing or a family thing or they were sick, like all these stories are valid, right? But it doesn't change the feeling inside. So if you can actually feel that feeling and say, hey, I understand that, you are not feeling well today, but the last 3 times we were supposed to get together, we haven't got together either. So I'm feeling really sad about this,
and just acknowledging it.
Acknowledge it, and it's okay.
Let it
go. Yeah.
And so it's just like, yeah, that kind of does hurt me. Or even teaching your kids another thing too. If you feel emotions, if you're feeling sadness, anger, like it's okay to speak about it. It's okay to talk about it. There's so much, like with our children at a young age, just letting them know that there's a safe space to feel their emotions. They're so embarrassed.
Right.
Kids are very embarrassed. They don't want to be seen crying. Like they will do anything not to cry in public. A lot of us adults, me too. Right?
Adults too. We're all in that boat.
But kids, I see that. And it's like there's a sensitive side, but they got to show the strong side too sometimes. But it's good to allow them to just, even if they need to do it by themselves, allow them
the
to
tool and learn the tools to do it by themselves and or hold the space for them. And with kids or partners or anybody, to hold that space and be like, hey, look, like, so say it's like a romantic relationship and you're upset with your partner, they can feel that, right? They come home, they're like, how are you? Fine. They're like, oh, you're not fine. What's up? Nothing. It's
energy
like,
just doesn't lie. Even if you say it in a like the energy, you can feel the energy in the room. You can walk into a room and feel when someone's freaking mad, right?
Right. Like say you've been cooking dinner and expecting your husband home at a certain time and he's late, and it was a valid reason, but you're still, upset or let down because you were trying to have a nice meal, and it's all, oh, it's fine, but it's like, I understand that you're late, but I was bummed because, I wanted this nice meal for you, and so I'm feeling that. And they were like, he can hold space for that for you. You can release that feeling, and then you can actually truly move on instead of just, oh, I'm fine.
Yeah, just so we can get back and just keep everything like in a better place and just suppressing and avoiding it like we have maybe from the past. But I think it's cool to see that all relationships, all connections with parents, siblings, partners, spouses,
friends, everything.
It's like we can truly heal those relationships if we desire by just like recognizing the emotions. What is stuck with this? What are we holding on to with this person? And I think it's so beautiful to see that healing. Like I love to see when people finally kind of come full circle and like certain things can finally heal with a person from the past.
Yeah, it's beautiful to watch. It's beautiful to help hold space for that and to help guide people through and to give them tools to do that. And to support them when they need support, but also to like let them know, hey, you got this. Like now you see how it can be and where the blocks are, and now go into your everyday life and utilize these tools that you now have.
Yeah. It's just cool to see how much we really are capable of doing, and especially when we just come back to really knowing every day I get to work on myself. Like how can I show up for me? What do I need to look at within myself today to work on so I can show up as the best person, which then mirrors back to me the best situations too.
Absolutely. And it all starts with us, like
right,
we said
we all
before.
Start, like today I get to choose, like what do I want my relationships, my children, how do I want them to feel today? There's so much that we do have control of. Like I get to choose the energy I bring to people. I get to choose.
And even in the moment, right? Like, because there's times where I'll be triggered by something and in the moment, and I like have an initial response, and then I'm like, wait a minute, that's not how I want to respond. Can I redo that? I'll literally say this to my kids. I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to react that way. Can I redo that? Can I have a redo on that? Mm-hmm. And they allow me to, and it's like that doesn't happen as much anymore because now I'm more in control in every moment, where before it was like a triggered response of something I was holding on to that I hadn't revealed and let go of and worked through. And so say like a glass broke on the floor, and my initial reaction is like, you yell or whatever. And then it's like, wait a minute, it's just a glass, it's
really
okay.
Matter?
Yeah. Like I don't care about the glass. I care about you. Are you okay? Did you get cut? Don't move. Like, let's get a broom or whatever. But I'm sorry that I reacted that way. It was probably scary. Like let's just clean this up because it's not a big deal. And my daughter actually showed, interestingly enough, like she has gone through a lot in her life, but, she actually got to present that very scenario to both of us over and over. Like when, I want to say it was only like a 2-week period or a 1-week period. And I had told her like, don't take food in your room. If you take water, take a water bottle with a lid on it. Well, she took a glass in her room. And then I saw it in the morning and I'm like, okay, take that glass to the kitchen. You know, I wasn't upset or anything, but I'm like, you know, I asked you not to bring glasses in here, but we would take it to the kitchen. So as she was doing that, she dropped it on the carpet and it shattered. And she immediately just starts crying and like worried about that. And I thought she was hurt, right? And so I go back in there. I'm like, are you okay? And she's just like, she can't contain herself because she's so upset for lots of reasons. But the glass dropping when I had asked her not to take it in there and I asked her to take it out and then it shattered, like it just shattered her.
Just brought
at
up
that moment.
a lot of
brought
emotions.
up a lot of emotion. And I'm like, honey, it's okay. Like, let's clean this up. What's really going on? Let's talk about that, because she had been holding on to a lot. So we did that. And then it happened again, like the very same scenario, like 2 days later, had a glass in a room, dropped it on the carpet. Like, how often does a glass drop on or break on carpet? Like, never. But I'm like, it showed up so we could have this conversation, so she could reveal what she was holding on to and feel it, so we can heal it. And then the third time it happened, we just lauged about it. We're like, okay, are we over this?
Or
like,
just learning how to change, like change how we react. And I think a big thing too is the awareness of how do we react when something like bad happens or something that we don't love that happens, I guess. It's like, how do we react? That kind of like our reaction is kind of a showing of like how well are our emotions regulated too. Like, are we in check? So when we see that we get triggered or we start yelling, hold on, like, why am I yelling? Why am I getting so mad? Because I do think it's so cool when like, even like with our children, when they come to us in the past, they think that we're just going to be so upset. But when we can show up and it's like, no, it's okay. Like, you're the most important thing. Like, you know, accidents are going to happen. But like your feelings and how, you know, I think it matters so much, right? Like when we don't yell, because sometimes when we yell, it's just a reaction. Mm-hmm. We're just reacting on with our overwhelm and stress in life, right? Most of the time when we are getting really mad, it's just we kind of tend to blow up with all the trapped emotions and all the things going on inside of us, right? And
yeah, there's a beautiful analogy of like, if I'm holding a cup of hot coffee, right? I'm holding a cup of hot coffee and you bump me and I get burned. Why did I get burned?
Because you're holding the cup of coffee, or
because my cup of coffee is full of hot coffee. So it's not the fact that you bumped me that I got burned. I got burned because I'm holding on to hot coffee, right? So you could bump me all day long and it's not a big deal, but I get burned with a hot coffee and then I yell at you, like, you bumped me, you burned me. It's like, no, you didn't burn me. I burned me because I'm holding on to this. So if I can let this go or not have it so full or not have it so hot or have marshmallows in it, you know, whatever I'm holding on to is what I'm going to spill out if I'm triggered, right? Mm-hmm. So a bump is like a trigger. And so, yeah, like just relearning that, because with the daily stresses and work and everything that's been compiled on us, yeah, like my past self used to be full of hot coffee, and now it's like, oh, it's full of marshmallows for the most part. I mean, once in a while I have like a little hot cocoa in the bottom. But
it's so nice to see the shift. Same here. There's times it used to like be easy to like snap or to yell or just with the, you know, and like, oh, I just like, sometimes it's so nice to be like, a lot of stuff doesn't really make me that mad anymore, right, you know, and just so I don't yell very often anymore, which is nice, you know, but it just kind of shows you, like, as you start releasing all that and healing those emotions, that you no longer like react like that anymore.
And it's so freeing, right? It is freeing. It's so freeing.
To feel like you're not controlled, because emotions control you. Like
they absolutely
are controlling you.
Yeah. And if we suppress them, they control you even more.
And what you see, what you do when you have so much, like how people act out in anger because of how they're letting all that suppressed emotions control them, all that trapped stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Like one analogy that I think is easy for most people to like relate to, like if you're driving down the street and somebody cuts you off, what's your reaction? Are you angry? Are you flipping them off? Are you like, oh, they must be in a hurry to get somewhere, I hope they get there safely? You know, like, what's your reaction? And I've like really played with that one over the years, right? And it's like, if I react out of anger or anything else, it's like, oh, wait a minute, Cindy, why are you angry? Like, what if they're in a hurry to get to the hospital? Like, I have no idea what their plan is. Like, I can have a story in my head. They're just cutting me off because they're an asshole, you know, right. but that's probably not true. And whatever I'm reacting is how I'm feeling inside. So over the years, as I played with that one, and I would gauge my reaction, be like, oh, like, why am I angry right now? It's not their fault. I'm the one holding the hot coffee, you know? And so, and I don't even react anymore if people cut me off. And if I do, then it's like, whoa, where did that come from? And I check in with myself. I'm like, why did I have that reaction? Oh, there's this thing over here that needs addressing that I'm not addressing, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, I think that's a really good gauge. And I like tune into that too when I'm riding with people. I don't ever tell them that, but when I'm riding with people and they're cursing people out on the road, I'm like, oh, they're full of hot coffee right now.
Very true.
Yeah. So anyway, your website so people can find you.
Yes, it's releaseandheal.org.
Releaseandheal.org. Yeah. Holly Van Gilder. She can help you out.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this path of self-discovery and soul connection. Remember, the journey doesn't end here. For more inspiration and resources, join our Facebook group, Igniting Soul Connection. Also, visit us at findingthefire.com or follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Finding the Fire. Until next time, keep the fire alive. This has been a production from a podcast studio.